Hey guys, SebTube here. I really wanted to make this video because they just released a new update that changed a bunch of things with the enchantment system, which changed a bunch of stuff that was in my last video, including they fixed a bunch of the bugs, they added new awakening enchants, and they also added a new way to print even easier divines. I'll show you. Oh, and there's also one very silly thing at the end. Firstly, with the bug fixes, when you were crafting tiered items, sometimes it just ate your entire forge, so it doesn't do that anymore, it charges you the proper amount. Also, the stat mod multiplier enchantment is now fixed alongside the damage resistant enchants. Same as the projectile and fire rate mods, they shouldn't give you extra disconnects anymore. The ST forging is now fixed as well. Now let me show you the exciting new enchantments they're adding, they're pretty interesting. First one, the fractured blade enchant, which appears on the crystal sword. The attack split into 2 additional shots at about a 4 tile range, which allows you to deal way more damage. Compared to a tier 12 sword, it does about 20% more damage if you do hit all 3 shots, but that's asking for a lot because these shots can be quite hard to hit. I don't think it's worth going for, to be honest, but if you do get it, pretty cool. Then there's the crystal shards enchant for the crystal wand, where it summons small crystals as you shoot, and these shatter into multiple high damage projectiles, which target enemies. I didn't realize these crystals target enemies, so I thought they were just shooting outwards and it was pure garbage. I don't think they targeted enemies on testing, at least it didn't say in the description that you can see on screen, but it since says that in the patch notes. Then there's the bone claws, which is the bone dagger awakening, where it fires 2 bloody claws that inflict high bleeding damage. This does about 33% more damage compared to a regular bone dagger, and it still pierces. Then there's the Mixcoatls dance for the robe of the Tlatoani. I could never find out how to pronounce that, but it gives you a hefty amount of dex. 10 dex is how much it gives you. Then similarly for the Tlatoani shroud is an awakening called the Raijan's dance, and this one blasts 3 lightnings to nearby enemies while using your abilities, so it's very similar to a scepter. Then the unholy spirits, which can appear on any weapon. It summons stationary spirits that attack nearby enemies while you shoot. They deal 1000 damage each, so if you have a high fire rate weapon, of course it's going to be even better. They also changed the Staff of Extreme Prejudice enchant, called the Artificial Core, to give it a more unique firing pattern, the one you see on screen, instead of just the bullet path like Superior. Okay, now for a really juicy part. So a big change that they made is they fixed the blueprints being usable in the forge. If you watched my previous video, you would have seen me like a buffoon select a blueprint and it fully screws up the rarity of your enchant. Because like for example, if you use 2 free slot legendaries before in the forge with a blueprint that was any blueprint, it would just reset the rarity instead of guaranteeing a legendary, which is what it's supposed to do. The legendary is the free slot, by the way. But now not only did they fix the blueprint fully screwing over your rarity when you go for an enchant, they fixed the forge fire discount when using a blueprint. Not only that, but they also changed it so the blueprints now kind of mimic the item you selected in your forge. So like for example in this clip, before you could craft a divine behemoth helmet or any other white bag from the nest by only using 2 behemoth armors as long as you had enough dismantled materials in your forge. Well, now the insane thing is, as long as you have a blueprint from the nest, you only need 1 of the divine items. So here I'm using a singular divine behemoth armor to create a Hive Master helmet. Is that not insane? Pretty crazy. It can be a bit annoying to get blueprints though. There's a few tips I have for you. Not only do blueprints drop from their respective dungeons most of the time, but you can get them even easier. You can either use the schematics that you've gotten from battle passes and stuff, or from just gradually playing the game. You should check your gift chest, you should have a bunch. Then you can go to the Tinkerer and you'll see these exchange quests. These rotate, and these will allow you to get exaltation blueprints. Now for the lesser blueprints, you can buy them from the shop for fame. These range from anything from blueprints for Crawling Depths, Mad Lab, Mountain Temple, High Tech Terror, etc. There are some dungeons that don't have a blueprint that you can get, like for example, unfortunately, the Haunted Cemetery. But the easiest way to get an event-wide blueprint is here, which is the Ray Katana. So if you do get an event white that you're not a fan of, but it's a divine or legendary, and you'd rather craft another divine or a legendary event white, like for example, if you got the Stinky Barnacle Basher and you want to make an Oreo, as long as you have have the blueprint unlocked for the other respective event white that you want to make, all you need to do is you need to get your crappy legendary or divine event white, then you got to get the blueprint from the bazaar or another one if you already have one, and that's all you need, and the dismantled materials in the forge, of course. Pretty crazy change. I wonder if they're gonna nerf this. You know what else is fucking crazy? They're now selling dust in the shop. What the hell? I'm not a fan, to be honest. What do you guys think about that?